case for AI is in their product. And I work with a company called AI Forge. We're an AI Are we good? Okay. We're an AI incubator in Miami, so we take pre-idea, pre-seed, pre-funding companies. If you have an idea that you want to incorporate AI for, we have 12 founders at a time. They go through a 12-week white glove experience building out their product. We actually just had our demo day last week at Builders Collective. It was really fun and exciting, and we had all of our founders present their final product. So if you're interested, we'd love to chat with you more after this. And for now, I'll hand it over to Zach and Irina, both to give intros on themselves.
I'm Zachary Rubin. I started a dev shop called AI Ship. We do all sorts of AI projects from, if any of you were at the event 2 nights ago at the National, did the interactive art installation that was behind the main stage that allowed participants at the party to submit their own images from around and live generate interactive artwork for everybody to hopefully enjoy. But yeah, otherwise I've also been in and out of AI for the last decade or so, and have also touched on lots of startup-y things in robotics, health, wellness, and so on.
Hi everyone, my name is Irina. I work with AI companies and I do marketing and cybersecurity. I'm really glad to join this conversation today, and let's get started.
I think, the elephant in the room, after all of those really great performances, AI has been a really trending topic, especially the last year. I think GPT just had their 1-year anniversary a week or so ago, and we've kind of been seeing AI dominating every industry, from creative to law to everything in between. And everyone is talking about AI taking away jobs, AI kind of, taking over anything that was human in the loop, now becoming AI in the loop. But as we just saw with those, really great interactive performances, you can't necessarily recreate that with AI, right? So can you guys talk about, in your respective industries, how are you already using AI to impact how you're creating, but also how are you finding that balance? Because we know that we still need that human creativity and that human passion to be involved. So how are you finding the balance, but also using it to kind of enhance what you're doing?
Okay, so I can start. So first of all, we need to face that it's $5 trillion opportunity. And it can go to humans or it can go to corporations. We are very concerned about AI ethics, and as everyone I think knows, Biden just signed the law that will help regulate the industry, but right now the industry is not regulated and we have a lot of crime within the space, and people abuse the system. How we use the tools, now we use the tools very ethically, and for my marketing purposes, I use it every single day. I can say that if my team of developers and I will stop using AI tools, other companies will outcompete us within a week. So we cannot stop this process, we can only join that.
Yeah, I guess I would just also add, I think people have a lot of these really sincere concerns about what's going to happen when this, as this technology proliferates. And I think it's kind of one of these matters of target fixation. If you're driving your car and you're staring right off a cliff, you might end up driving your car off that cliff. But if you stare into the greener pastures and focus on what are the really wonderful opportunities that this tech has to improve humanity, improve the things that make us most human. And that's why I really love applications that are in the health and wellness space for the tech, as well as the ways that new creative applications can come about that weren't even possible without it. And it does kind of echo the paradigm shifts that came along with like the advent of photography. You really don't have any more artisans that are focused on hyperrealism in the way they were, prior to that coming along. But it's shifted, and the medium has shifted. The things that are important have shifted, And it is sad that there may be a loss of certain skill sets and people who are spending their 10,000 hours developing the artistic profession in the way that they had been in the past. It'll be interesting to see the new forms that come about being freed and opened in the way that AI is supporting us.
And I guess just adding on to that a little bit. So there was a study done, or perhaps it was some kind of like judging criteria came out in the New York Times maybe 2 or 3 months ago about how GPT ranked among the highest in terms of creativity when rated against humans, which I think a lot of people got caught by surprise, because we know that AI is really good at doing logical things. It's really good at categorizing things, taking in huge amounts of data and doing things, processing things really, really fast, better than humans. But we didn't necessarily think it'd be better at being creative. And I think that there's still a lot of skepticism. So any comments or thoughts on, what your thoughts are as we see AI overtaking humans in terms of creativity, and where do artists and kind of everything that we're seeing on display here, how do we still fit into that process?
Well, I can tell from my daily work, I can compare the content that was created by just ChatGPT, the paid version right now. It generates images based on the text. And when I compare it to the work that touched by human, this is a very big difference. So right now it cannot compete with advanced creators at all. Even if it can ease the work a little bit, you just need a touch of human, because right now it's a huge difference. The content that generated just by ChatGPT and Midjourney, etc., it's good, but without brains, it still doesn't work. And I think we are years away from real competition to the humans.
I'd add too. I think there's a lot of importance in sort of that initial seed. AI is this incredibly powerful vehicle, but it's still up to us as humans to provide that initial creative seed of what is the message that we want to express through the creative work, even if it is being generated by AI.
Yeah, and I think kind of to add to that point, so the way that GPT or any of these LLMs, any kind of AI model works is it learns from data. So when we see AI being creative right now, it's being creative based on what it already knows, what's already being fed into the system, how life is in 2023, about to be 2024. But for AI to continue to be able to keep up with humans, to an extent, humans need to be challenging themselves to be able to give that to the machine to be better than us one day, right? When we think about super AI is the type of AI that is smarter than a human, which we're still years away from, that you both kind of alluded to. I think it can only get there by the data that we feed it and us continuing to challenge ourselves. So when, and Irina, I know that cybersecurity, that's really your forte, and did you guys hear, I think it's hard to not have heard, maybe it was a few weeks ago now, Sam Altman, all of the drama going on, right, with him leaving the board and why he left the board, and a lot of it's still hearsay, but a really big topic there was around cybersecurity and this algorithm, and to kind of explain it in layman's terms, the way that we protect ourselves right now with passwords to cybersecurity is essentially doing prime factorization. So you have an extremely large number that you need a computer to be able to calculate for billions of years and able to be able to find the prime factors of that number, which is why we think we're safe right now. However, with this new LLM that they're creating in the back room, we're now seeing that because of AI, we might be able to solve these prime factors for what used to take billions of years, maybe now just tens of hours to to find, which puts us at a huge risk. And I think that's really why when we hear AI is coming to get us, it's not necessarily coming to get us because of the robots, right? It's really coming to get us because of cybersecurity. Irina and Zach, also, if you have anything to add, do you want to speak a little about AI and cyber and how we think about that?
Yeah, sure. So I did my personal research. I contacted around 60 companies. They work in AI field, and I talked to their sales reps just to understand how ethical they work. And I was really surprised because it's a lot of scams going on in this space. Like every trend, it attracts a lot of scammers. So the companies offer AI services to regular customers like plumbers, construction companies, roofing companies, and how the regular person can identify if it's scam or it's like real AI, because they use this fancy words just to make impression. And I really feel that we need to separate the companies and label them as licensed and not licensed, because I know that it will be a lot bureaucracy, but we need to decrease the level till the minimum, the bureaucracy and the speed of approval of the companies. So it's a lot of scam. Like, for example, I can tell you, like, one company told me that like the price of integrating simple AI system to the small construction company, $20,000. And because I work in the field, I understand completely that the real price is up to 1,000, but it's not 20,000. And it's going on. We need to educate community, or we need to develop departments that will qualify and license companies.
Yeah, and you can actually see using, and I keep on referring to GPT, but obviously there's lots of LLMs that can do these things. But in terms of the phishing and scamming, which, by the way, I got caught in my first crypto phishing scam a few nights ago. Talk to me about that after. I think that we got it solved, but I was so embarrassed, and like I would never get caught in that. But that just shows you the power that AI has. And they were doing this study with GPT on how quickly it could generate phishing emails and just the rapidness at which it can send them out. So that, along with the SHA, the cryptography of creating passwords, it's kind of attacking on all ends. Do you have anything to add to that, Zach?
No, I think you guys hit on really important points. I would just underscore education. Probably a lot of you have also heard the case of the woman whose voice was captured and cloned off social media, and her parents were called asking for a ransom when she was safely at a friend's house or someplace perfectly fine. And yeah, I think there's going to be more things like that come up inevitably, and really just the more people understand the possibilities of things that can happen these days, that it'll help people be just a little bit more aware and ask the right questions as these things come up.
Yeah. And Zach, you work a lot with robotics, so I mean, I guess that's the other black swan of the AI industry right now, where people are wondering like what's going to happen with robotics in terms of, we can think of weapons of mass destruction, which we've talked about the AI bill that the White House just passed. That's a really big thing that they're talking about. Is we have to use AI ethically, of course, but when we think back to the Cold War, and everyone was, at the race to nuclear weapons and saying, we're not going to test nuclear weapons. But what was everyone doing underground? They were testing nuclear weapons, right? So how do you feel about AI and robotics and how that's going to impact humanity moving forward? Big question.
Yeah, big question. I think there's a couple different ways to look at it. One, sort of like what are the I think most poignant, damning things of AI I heard recently is, we're all hoping for AI and robots that would take away all the tough, undesirable blue-collar jobs and leave us to pursue creative endeavors. But what we ended up with first is AI that can pursue the creative endeavors, so that we're left with the hard jobs. And that's a tough future that we don't necessarily want to go into. But the more that we can work towards AI that can pursue some of these applications that are really difficult, undesirable, dangerous for humans. That one is a positive. And then also getting back to what you had mentioned about in defense, it's a tough situation globally right now where you have the rising power of China, and just historically there's always never been a case of an old empire and a new empire peacefully rising without some sort of conflict emerging. And looking at what do we want to support our politicians in doing as they investigate this is I think we want the best technology available on our side because we know everybody else is going to be pursuing it as well.
Right, exactly, because while AI can do harm, at the end of the day, it is just a machine that can be out-AI'd. So if we build the better AI, then that's always putting us in a position to be able to kind of strong arm against. I'm going to ask one more question. Oh yeah.
I mean, maybe I'd also just add there's one of the leading thought leaders in the space kind of looks at AI and AI development in terms of it's kind of the race to who can get to the first super intelligence, and once you have one of these intelligences that's able to make itself more and more intelligent, it's going to be impossible or nearly impossible for anybody else to catch up. And it's not 100% that that's the scenario that plays out, but it's worth keeping in the back of your mind.
Yeah, which apparently U.S. has. We'll see what happens the next few months. I'll ask one more question, but then I would love to open it up to the audience if anyone has questions for our panelists. So think if you have anything that you want to ask. But basic question, what are you most excited for, either doing yourself in the field or that you would like to see, or maybe you have an answer for both over the next 5 years?
Right, I'm really excited to see the dashboard for brain. So this is a really good thing I was thinking about. So imagine how much time do we need to reflect on our emotions, what do I feel right now? But if we have the sensors we can use, we come back from work, home, we put these things and we just see emotions, what we experience, what our hormones look like, and we have the access to the information we don't have right now. So this will help companies. I mean, a lot of companies will want to abuse the system, of course, because some of the companies already use it with their workspace, they tracked if their employees are engaged in work, because not engaging worker ruins the whole economy in the company. Last year, the corporations lost in general 500 billions from not engaging workers. And some companies abuse this system, so they use these chips to understand if this guy is really interested in the work or no. But the regulation is working in this space, so everyone will have a free will to use it or not to use it, but this is what I am excited about.
I think there's going to be a lot of pushback on that one.
Exactly.
I'll give a very simple answer. I'm really excited for just AI that'll wait on hold for me, because whenever.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that kind of opening up people for humans engaging with businesses in an effective way. Right now, there's this kind of disproportionate. There's this disproportionality between the ability that we have to kind of get the resources that we need, particularly thinking about health, wellness, medical care, and the amount of effort that you have to pursue to go into that in a meaningful way. And that line I think also spearheads into all the other wonderful things that people will be able to do and have access to in terms of personalized medicine and health in general.
That first one was a really good use case. Are you already working on building that one?
Have some friends that are.
Oh, okay, nice. Okay, well, let's give a big round to our panelists, and then we'll get some questions from the audience.
Thank you. By the way, great panel. Thank you very much. I actually wanted to ask you, because this is a topic near and dear to me, how do you see the issue of centralization and AI, right? Coming from a Bitcoin world, decentralized, but if you have OpenAI, it's a centralized puppy as it can be, right? What is truth when I'm dealing with AI?
Do you guys mind if I take this first? I'm very passionate about this because a few years ago, I actually spent some time serving on ACT-IAC, the American Council of Technology, for both blockchain and AI, kind of writing the use cases for both, for how we're working in America. And through that, I kind of realized that a lot of people want to tie AI and blockchain together, but they're so decoupled. And especially like that example that you just gave about OpenAI, there's actually nothing centralized about OpenAI. It's kind of a conundrum because we think like OpenAI, open source, centralized, but really everything is so tightly under wraps. So I think that there is an opportunity in the future to, and I know a lot of companies that are actually trying to do this, trying to, I think some of the best use cases for centralization in AI come around data and come around source code and just making things more visible. I don't think we necessarily need blockchain to do that. I think we can create that centralization and visibility just with Web 2 technologies, but the concepts that are there that we're using in Web 3, I think will just help make things more visible to people and just make them more understandable. You guys want to add to that?
Yeah, a year ago, I think it looked pretty scary in terms of how much centralization it was shaping up to be, where you had Midjourney and OpenAI really being so much further ahead than anybody else doing anything similar. But it's been a little bit hopeful to see how there have been a lot of other open source large language models and stable diffusion and all the derivatives of that coming out that are really very close to being as capable. And so that's been a good sign in my mind in terms of steering away from centralization. There's also, I think, like kind of a dark horse that people don't think about as much in terms of centralized, that basically the access to GPU, where it's NVIDIA has come a lot further than anybody else, and there could be centralization issues just coming from who has access to GPUs and who can get hold of the latest generation that'll be able to do the compute required.
I just can add that I think that AI and Web3 are equally decentralized, so it's like quietly the same level. I used to think that Web3 and Bitcoin and everything else is so decentralized and secure. Unfortunately, I don't think so now, and people I work with don't think so as well. It's a lot of issues, like if someone will send you what's the name of like money from darknet, you will be part of the crime, and that's why a lot of people just don't want to use it anymore. We need to work on this system.
Well, to what you were just saying, and kind of a follow-up to this, is if we're all able to create, say, like 1,000 pieces of art before breakfast, right? How do I know, again, what's real and what's not? What's human-made, what's, a hybrid, and what's machine-made, right? So if it isn't going to be blockchains that underpin intellectual property rights in the digital rights management space, as well as that extension to physical, how do we close Pandora's box and thwart against everyone from just stealing everybody's intellectual property?
Yeah. That is, I think, a billion-dollar question. It's a really good question, and I admit that I play devil's advocate in the crypto space. Crypto people love to hate me for it, but I also love hearing the feedback from people in the crypto community or just the blockchain community. I truly believe that blockchain, while it is a solution for it, you don't need blockchain or hyperledgers, smart contracts to be able to track that, and you can still be using blockchain and still not have the answer for whether or not it was human or computer made. So I think we'll be able to use AI in the future even to be able to help tell us, did it come from human or AI? We're already able to do that in some senses, but there's always that level of error, of uncertainty that will exist, and I personally don't know of the solution to get to that 100%. So do either of you want to add to that?
I guess I would just add, I think another place to look, especially right now if you're an artist and you care about the way that these things take shape, is participating in the way that governance forms around it. in that if you look at what's intellectual property rights at the end of the day anyways, even before AI and all this, it's just your right to enforce your ownership of your creation. And at the end of the day, that's something that a legal body comes around to enforce. And I don't think that's necessarily so different in post-AI world. The technology is able to produce and recreate these things, but if the definition of intellectual property can fit going forward in post-AI world, can still allow you to preserve ownership in the same sort of way and preserve your rights to pursue the kind of remedies that you would want to pursue for any other kind of IP that you've generated and owned. I think that's, the solution is challenging, but it's still the best that's available.
Maybe we have time for one more question. Anyone else want to ask a question to the panel? No? Okay, great. Well, let's give one more round of applause.